that I expected the least from Bren Esports because we haven't quite seen a lot of it from them. Whereas for the side of 500 first, they can secure themselves the Vault, but of course Castro does well against this Vault, and they probably heard you. They will go for the crew.
Yeah, cool. First time he's been picked today, and the Petal Ban did indicate that. But Petal Ban does leave Kestrel much harder to counter because they now can't go Fortress to counter Kestrel. Petal's Munions cannot follow Kestrel, so this weapon Kestrel is going to be really tough to play against in lane. And that is the real problem now. What laner do you pick against this weapon Kestrel that's going to have any kind of chance early on in the game? They could go double weapon with something like a weapon Idris to try and dive into this Kestrel with the Crawl, or perhaps we're going to see something more old school like a lane Scarf or Celeste. That's still not going to work really well against Kestrel, so it's really a tough position for 5-0 first to be in here. They're going to go Celeste. I don't think that's great because Celeste is just not very good, first of all, at the current patch. And the last pick could just be Reza that would do so well against the Celeste or even Alpha. So Alpha's not good against Crawl, which is the only problem. But a dive here would be really good for Bren Esports here.
Yep, there is no reason for the side of Bren Esports not go and settle once again for that Reza. But I was actually thinking Sky. There you have it. The traditional counter to Crawl is, Sky. Sky is usually picked up against a Crow, and in this particular patch with Dragon's Eye coming into play, I think Sky does decently well against a Crow. Of course, there's the From Hell's Heart you have to be wary of, but when you can just be very, very mobile against a crew that is without the puck, not exactly very mobile, I think the side of Bren Esports wins this draft.
Okay, I think that it's definitely not that simple. I think that Brawl isn't great against Sky, but is really good against Kestrel. And Kestrel Sky isn't a very good comp against the Celeste. So Bren Esports I think they have a slight advantage because they have a good counter in the jungle and quite a strong lane matchup. But this Celeste hasn't been countered, so there is a chance that if she can run out of the gauntlet with Reflex Block and Boots, and then Crucible with the second Echoed Gauntlet, Celeste can do a lot of damage on the back line. Very interesting to see what build we're going to see on the Celeste. Where we're going to see Dragon's Eye first, Shatterglass, Frostburn, Clockwork, Eve. So many options for the Celeste to go. I'd like to see Dragon's Eye into Clockwork, into Eve, into Broken Myth, but that's just me. Maybe we're going to see something else. What do you think this Celeste is going to build, Luxuria?
I personally think the Celeste was picked up because of it being a comfort pick for the for Revenger X, and I think that's the only reason it's being picked up. But as back to your question, I reckon the Celeste will go for that Shatterglass first item. If not, then just settle for 2.8 meta because that is what we've seen Revenger X actually building on Celeste. Not very much that Dragon's Eye into Clockwork like you like, but more so of that 2.8, the Eve of Harvest or Frostburn first item into Eve of Harvest, Clockwork, and Broken Myth. I think that build is not exactly the greatest because, like you mentioned, Dragon's Eye on Celeste does so much work, especially paired up with that Clockwork as well. Landing those Helios one after the other, just building up so much stacks. And then, of course, the Broken Myth for that extra shield pairs, and just dealing so much more damage from the backline. So, Cruel. What Cruel can do in this particular game, just tank up, try your best to tank up. More often, we do see Cruel in Southeast Asia going for the not Broken Myth, but Breaking Point as first item. Start tanking up just to, just deal, be the frontline nuisance that you can, and of course the sustain from Lyre speed boost from Lyre would definitely help a lot. And then Crew can just wreak havoc and then have Celeste just poke from the backlines. Whereas for the side of Bren Esports, their comp, although you say they do not synergize together well, but we've seen, Arden and Sky, they work fine together. Arden and Castro, they work fine together. Just that the two carries are not the best pairs to put up together.
Yeah, the two carries can poke quite well together. They have a lot of range and a decent amount of disengage and mobility. Kestrel with the active camera trap is really the only thing Kestrel can use to disengage. But it does work very effectively. If the flares don't come out at the exact right time against this Kestrel, she'll be so elusive, really tough for Crawl to lock down. And there's only really from Hell's Heart that needs to be blocked. Crucible could be picked up for the core collapse because that can technically be a triple stun. But I think most likely it'll be blocked from Hell's Heart, run away from Cruel, and we'll be fine. Maybe even picking up War Treads on Arden before he goes for Crucible. Because that's really the win condition, is just run away from Cruel. Yes, Celeste can poke, but we think we can poke more with our 2 heroes as compared to their 1. Even though those Helios are going to hurt an awful lot. And going back to the build, I think Dragon's Eye into Clockwork that I would like to see will work well in general as Celeste, but the downside to it is that you don't have the massive burst damage that can happen once Celeste hits level 8 with 2 damage items. If she goes Shatter Glass into Broken Myth, for example, or Shatter Glass into even Frostburn, then you have so much on-hit burst damage that just isn't present when you go for the scaling damage and you go for lower crystal power items such as Eve of Harvest, which is why Frostburn into Eve of Harvest on Celeste isn't a good build anymore, because it doesn't have the scaling damage, it doesn't have the burst. All it has is utility, and that's not really how you want to play Celeste at the moment.
Yep, it is not how you like to play Celeste, but I've been seeing a couple of Celeste when they are picked up, they go for the very traditional build. It's a build that I always tell people, nah, don't go that build anymore. It's either you go for the Shatter Glass, just impact damage, just go boom, boom, and everything just in your path just dies. You just obliterate, decimate everything in your path with, the power of the SARS as Celeste. But a lot of times people still settle for the 2.8 meta for some odd reason, as we can see Revenger X on the main, on the Celeste. So in the early game, before Celeste actually get the range, I think Mr. Jim, Sync 1 on that Castro. Sync 1 will be on that Castro, so Mr. Jim will be in lane playing that Sky.
That is not what I was expecting. It looks like, and we might even see a Weapon Sky and a Crystal Kestrel, something we didn't really consider because CP Kestrel is really just out of the meta, but we are going to have to find out what they're going to go for, if Celeste is going to go boom boom, if we're going to see massive damage. We're loading into the Halcyon Fold for the first game, and yeah, Sync 1 bringing out the CP Kestrel. Very interesting rotation from 5-0 first though.
Tons of vision coming through from 500 at first, though. You have Lara's Imperial Sigil, you have Bright Bulwark that can, if used at the right time, can just stop any form of Invis coming through because there's damage. But I don't know. I mean, Weapon Sky has been not in the meta at all for quite some time now. And then, as you mentioned, CP Castro easily countered with Vision, unless, of course, you play it and you have got a very good early game lead, then, it will not quite deter you, those Visions, because Guessing X on that Arden can just easily just pop all of those Vision. But I'm just down to see how Bren Esports will execute the team comp. But then seeing what is brought up by the set of Bren Esports, I want to say 500 first definitely did a very good job with drop.
Yeah, I think we're really stuck to see. It's all down to how well this Kestrels work. Something we haven't seen a lot of. Weapon Sky has worked out before. It's a pick that as long as you put a breaking point, you will stack up an awful lot. I think Weapon Sky has one of the best stacking, will stack one of the quickest in the game, because you just can get so many basic attacks around the edge of the fight and dance around the edge of the fight. But this weapon, the CP Kestrel, going to be taking quite aggressive jungle start. I see JL is going to be a bit more passive on the Cruel, which I wasn't expecting. I thought he might try and go in, try and invade Kestrel when she can't get as many active camo traps down. Kestrel allows to get the first 2 elders, so somehow we've got a 1k gold lead for Bren Esports. How's that happened, Luxuria?
Well, I mean, looking at the CS, we have Mr. Jim sitting at 16 CS and Revenger X a mere 7. And for the jungle side, Sync 1 9 CS, ICJL 9 CS, or JI 9 CS, and then Guessing X alone has got 3. So I guess it is just down to rotation and how fast they were rotating. Thus, they have got that, initial 1k gold lead. And X3 Jasmine definitely taking a ton of poke from Mr. Jim on this weapon Sky. And although I don't quite like when you play Sky in that of lane, because your forward barrages don't quite hit, but as a weapon Sky, don't quite rely on the forward barrage for damage. And with your Suri Strike being your main form of displacement, not displacement but repositioning ability, Guessing X though in a very weird position there.
Yeah, that is certainly not what you quite expect, but I really think Weapon Sky can work well, and Cruel does manage to get the first blood onto Arden. Guessing X, it was a weird position. Think about how nice forward bar. So Icy's going to go so low. And that's going to be Healing Flask pop Sigil, not going to be anywhere near where Icy wants to go. So nice start for 5-0 first, trying to close this gold deficit they are in. Mr. Jim is farming really well on this Weapon Sky. it's not quite something you'd expect, and I don't think he's going to get this far because CP Kestrel needs so much gold. CP Kestrel did get an indirect nerf with the changes to how Clockwork works. Clockwork with that damage amplification was so much better on CP Kestrel than it is now, with just giving you lower cooldowns, because that's not really how CP Kestrel wants to work. Nice damage though, Revenger X looking towards either the Shatterglass or Dragon's Eye first with the Heavy Prism and Eclipse Prism. So I think we're going to have to wait to see what this Revenger X can go for, but nice poke coming out onto Bren.
Yep, but Revenger X...
go in. He's going to be in trouble. He's going to Series Strike in as I have to keep Revenger X alive, and Mr. Jim tried to be aggressive. He's working towards Swordblade, hasn't quite got it yet, and Revenger X is quite healthy. Revenger X trying to do some work onto Guessing X, and Cruel picked up Tension Bow, looking to rotate up to lane. He needs to get that Shadows and Power Me perk. Guessing X is in the bush, so is Sync 1. That's a lovely Series Strike out the backline, but he could be in trouble. He doesn't know that Cruel is there, doesn't know that Cruel's going to come and kill him. Guessing X is going to take a lot of poke, but they know there's an actual camera up there. I see taking 2 Glimmer shots to the face and 3. He's going to go aggressive though, he doesn't care. He's going to get his stacks, he's going to get the kill. He's impressive. Cruel's 3-0. Kestrel's trying to do the work, isn't level 6, so could one-shot Cruel or Lyra to easily secure the kill, but they just go tantalizingly close. Lovely plays from IC there.
Yep, very good plays, and of course a very on point Imperial Sigil that just dropped on time to just give, you know, Cruel that extra speed boost, and on top of that as well, the extra health regen from the Imperial Sigil. So very good play, and I want to say Mr. Jim on this guy a little too aggressive like we are seeing right now.
Right now, he's not too aggressive, he's perfectly aggressive. He knows Cruel's not there, he knows he can be way more aggressive against Revenger X, and he just Sui strikes in and then dodges that core collapse with just movement speed, so Revenger X isn't going to land it. ICJI has got a From Hell's Heart available if he decides to throw that out, but wants to go down shop. Probably pick up a reflex block for that from that Death Emerald well, because it is annoying to face against that. And he will most likely go into Breaking Point, but wants to pick up defense before doing so as well. So that could be picked up pretty soon on Cruel. Stun onto XP Jasmine with that Death Emerald well. Cruel is coming up to lane. He doesn't know that Mischief doesn't know he's there. He misses the forward barrage, so ICGL will be caught up by the flare. And now they're trying to spot out where Kestrel is. He's picked up a Shattered Glass already. I think one shot, one kill was already used. And so now he's waiting to see if he can get a little bit of poke onto Jasmine in lane. Might go quite low. One gonna be shot, not quite gonna hit. Second one, not quite gonna hit. Fountain though, wasted by Jasmine. He still dies. X3 Jasmine using the fountain to keep himself alive, and it was not enough. Now Sync 1 trying to push this wave up. Core clap already used. So Mr. could go aggressive. There's the Zoe. That's the aggressive play. He's got his Sword Blade. There's a Hell's Heart though, stunning him up. Tyler's gonna go to Kestrel. Mischief's gonna go so low. He's gonna fall to that Celeste with that Supernova. I didn't like to see Boss burn, but it worked out in this game. Lots of damage and Cruel waiting. Gonna walk into the trap. Gonna take 391 damage. Popping the healing fast just in case there was another trap, and there has been a pause. So maybe some connection issues for one of the players. Hopefully that will be sorted very quickly.
Yep, and in that team fight alone, we did see that Sky just, once again, you say just nice in terms of aggression. I say the Suri Strike used to position itself in a better position. Not quite used by the side of by Mr. Jim on this guy. More often than not, he just Suri Strike into the arms, the loving arms of Danger and the loving arms of Cruel that really just want to DMR your face off. So maybe Mr. Jim have to rethink his engagement, rethink how he move around this map, because that is what you're better at as compared to a very immobile Celeste and a very immobile Kestrel when the Kestrel is firing off those glimmer shots. Guessing X on that island is definitely there to help you, just to reposition yourself with the Vanguard, and when he hits level 6, those Gauntlet as well will definitely come in clutch. And whether or not Mr. Jim can just dance around the walls of the Gauntlet like we saw Onager did when he was on the Fox is another matter to consider. And so the side of Bren Esports, definitely a lot of variables that are not working in their favor, but if they manage to just pull off this team comp, it will be very, very strong. I mean, we saw the amount of damage coming through from Mr. Jim, as long as dodge those Helios, dodge those core collapse, but he has just got no answer whatsoever going up against ICJI on this crew.
Yeah, I think that it's nice to see Guy being aggressive with the sewer tracks because it means the fight's going to happen. It means people are going to do stuff, and the game is now resuming. Everyone has fixed their connection problems. I think one is back. He's going to get stunned up with core collapse. He walked into the bush. Don't face check. There's been an unpause. You need to be ready as soon as the game restarts. He face checked the bush. 5-0 first. We're waiting for him. Guessing X is going to be the next target. Where is the spectral smite? There it is. But I see it's going to go down to the turret shot. Guessing X with the bait, and he's going to try and defend this turret by himself. Vendrex very low. Going to have to port home. Low on energy and on health. So nice kill for 5-0 first. But I see going a bit deep under turret for Guessing X.
Yep, the first tier turret for the side of Bren Esports will not fall, but IC will be the one. And Bren Esports still not quite coming back at all. I hope Synquan do manage to come back. He is losing a lot of precious farm. Every minute, every second he stays in base. And there we have it. Synquan finally back, able to pick up that void battery while he comes back. And the side, I personally think, and I want to say that the game is rather even, although we have more kills going over to the side of 500 at first, only because of the tons of gangs coming through from crew. I see just playing very, very well on their crew, just knowing when to come up and just help Revenger X when he's being aggressed upon. And so, but then the gold lead, or rather the side of 500 first, do not quite have the gold lead over.
Oh, that's full taps used, gets corner, there's the engage. Not going to quite be a stun habit. One shot, one kill does come through, hits Jasmine. Jasmine going to go low, but use the Phantom on himself. Lovely ultimate from the Celeste. Solar Storm through most of the members now. Guessing X is the target. Will he go down? Not quite. Mischief's going to now touch, puts focus on Revenger X. Synquan's going to get engaged by a Crawl. There's no flare there. He can't go invisible. He's CP Kestrel. He's going to go down to the smite. 466 damage. This will be Guessing X. Will he be the next target, or will they go for the turret? Mr. Jim is full health. He's going to walk into the scout trap and going to port home. Yeah, Jasmine will get him with a basic attack, so he stops the port, and this will be an easy turret. Mr. Jim caught out by that scout trap that he does not know about. That's a lovely core collapse, and that'll be an engage. That'll be a dead Sky. No, the block, the plays from Mr. Jim. Can he dodge this core collapse? The sword bars. No, can he dodge the healer Genesis? Yes, he can, but he cannot dodge basic attack. Using that forward barrage to try and kite for as long as possible wasn't quite enough. Now the turret will go down to Celeste and probably Goldmine as well.
Yep, very bad fight coming through from the side of Bren Esports. I was expecting, oh no, side of Bren Esports will just go for that gold mine rather than the turret. But the turret will be bound to just fall eventually. Oh, but Guessing X maybe looking for a steal, maybe not.
Could be in a lot of trouble. Crawl gets it with the Spectral Smite, but Revenger X so low on energy, and sadly, we're going to see it. Frostburn into Eve, there we go. Frostburn, Eve of Harvest on Celeste. We don't like this build. It's 2.8 meta. It's not what's the best this patch. And he's building towards Clockwork and Broken Myth as his next item. Split building to see. Not quite sure where he's going to go next. But we've talked about why this isn't great. It's just you don't need to slow down the Sky. You don't need to slow down the Kestrel. You just need to burst them as quickly as possible. I guess Celeste is trying to kite for the Crawl and trying to sustain as well as Crawl. Nice damage. So that is going to be a stun by the Gauntlet. And Sky trying to go in, but a nice full walk to make sure there is no further engage. And Avenger X going to farm up this wave. Crawl, meanwhile, is in base, so it's not going to be too much aggression from 5-0 first at this point. Do you think Celeste is going to get that Clockwork next, or the Broken Myth?
I think Celeste will go for that Broken Myth next. I mean, it is a very classic 2.8, although, like I called it Revenger X on the Celeste more often than not, just constantly goes for that, you know, Frostburn into Eve of Harvest, and then, you know, Broken Myth next item, and it off with a Clockwork. One shot, one kill, comes through, but not hitting anyone.
Yeah, a little bit wide, core collapse does land, so Supernova onto Mr. Jim. Now that's going to be a healer coming down, and Lyra is going to portal away. Crawl going through the portal, doesn't get it from Hell's Heart onto Mr. Goes in the wrong direction. Now Vendrex gets a double stun. Can he get a Supernova? Not quite. He goes to Solar Storm instead. Vendrex so low on energy. He needs to get a Clockwork if he wants to survive these fights with any sort of energy left. He's going to get much more now using that healing flask. And Vendrex trying to kite to Mr. Jim. I see he's not going to do that much. Can Vendrex do the damage? Getting basic attacks. Sky putting up 12 breaking point stacks. Shut down. And that's going to be 14, 15 breaking point stacks on Mr. Jim. Can he do the damage onto ICJCL? Yes, he can. Sync1's going to go down. But Sky with the breaking point gets an ace for Bren Esports, and that is Weapon Power Sky.
That is Weapon Power Sky, but it looks very, very shady. I mean, I want to say it was a very, very clean fight, but it obviously wasn't. There was a lot of kiting, and that is what Weapon Sky should do, but it's not exactly the best. I'm not entirely sure as to why Mr. Jim or the set of Bren Esports have to make the game so much more difficult for themselves. They could have just went for Castro, a Weapon Castro, and a CP Sky would have worked so much better. But hey, it is what it is. They got an ace, they got one turret, and a one-shot, one kill will land on Revenger X on that Celeste, but we'll all be healed up by that Imperial Sigil, and that is the power of Lyra. We saw just now, it was a very close fight in between both 500 First and Bren Esports, but guessing X, you don't want to be there.
Yeah, let's see if we've got to go to engage. Atlas onto the Celeste, that's going to be disaster. Not really, Mr. Dim's going to... She's stuck walking into the corner, and she's going to try and heal up with Fountain, with this Evil Harvest Celeste back half health to Jim, trying to keep his breaking stacks into the Arcane Passage, but Pets, that's going to be a Celeste going down, that's going to be a call going down. Mr. Jim on this weapon power Sky, 20 breaking point stacks, easy double kill. Kestrel wants to get the low, but it's not going to happen. Sentry's going to go down, Goldman's going to go down. This is looking so good for Bren Esports. Revenger X is unable to do anything because he built wrong. Don't go Frost Bren Eve this match on Celeste, please.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say that he built wrong. He probably has got his reasons. Maybe he don't think that Shattered Glass is worth it as an item. I'm not too sure. I don't think. Maybe he doesn't think that Dragon's Eye is a worth it item. I mean, I don't know what is going through Revenger X's mind right now, going for that build itself. But you know, going for that build basically means that you do not quite have the burst like you mentioned, and on top of that as well, it's quite difficult for Celeste to just catch Mr. Jim on this very mobile, you know, just movement hero like that of Sky that can Suri strike around, that can just strive around you, and it will be so difficult unless of course you are basically attacking him to death. Then yes, you can catch him out, but with your heliogenesis and your landmines that you want to put down, it's so difficult. And the Eve of Harvest really just only works when you land those, you know, kills.
Well, that's got to come through. Trip, double stun, sorry. Now Lyra's stuck inside. She's trying to get Alpha Calls diving in. Trying to get some notification. We're going to get stunned up. Lyra forced away. Now Sky going to go through that portal to try and come back into the fight. Onto Revenger X now. But there's going to be Celeste. Kestrel, sorry, is the main focus. Kestrel's going to go down. So is Celeste. And now who's going to win this? Is it going to be Sky or Crawl? Well, Sky is the main Crawl counter. So IC is in a big world of hurt. 13 breaking point stacks. Here we go, Mr. Jim. We've seen this twice before. Will we see it again? Atlas comes through. He is ridiculous. 7 and 3. Crawl's managed to get away this time, though, with that Shadows Empower Me perk. So Mr. Jim not going to get the triple, but he's now got a Poison Shiv just to add to the hurt of Revenger X dying so quickly. He's not even going to get as much healing now. Sentry may go down to Bren Esports here. No, they want to push in a bit too aggressive. The Mr. Jim is low on energy, and he's just going so aggressive on this Sky. Wants to get this tree, will be able to not quite get it. Mr. Jim actually... no, sorry, ICJO will steal it away from Mr. Jim, so he's struck over the wall, and now one shot, one kill hits Surrender X. Mr. Jim fast stacking up, and Crawl's going to go solo. How is he not dead? He is now going to die mortal wound. Now going to be replied onto the Celeste. Can Mr. Jim do the 1 versus 3? He's got one. He's got one, and Slimer's going to get the kill. He doesn't get the 1v3. Shut down for the Lyra, and now Sig 1 is going to try and see if he can sneak Jasmine. But lovely, lovely plays from Mr. Jim. That is a powerful weapon power Sky at this point.
That is, and I think the only reason Mr. Jim did not quite secure that 1v3, it's because of the lack of energy. I mean, let's all be honest, if Mr. Jim had got a Suri Strike up, had got enough energy, just Suri Strike and just displace X3 Jasmine on that Lyra, they could have had a better chance, or rather not they, but he could have had a better chance. I mean, he survived for such a long time against Icy, against Revenger X, and there was nothing the side of 500 First can do. I mean, Mr. Jim, 20 breaking point stacks every single time in every single fight. How are you going to stop it if you cannot land those Atlas Pauldron on him? And even then, he still sits on 20 stacks, and it will be so difficult landing Atlas Pauldron on the Vox already, much less a very crafty Sky.
Yeah, the main problem for what 5's first are doing is if they Atlas Mr. Jim, he'll just force barrage and he'll do not much damage, but he'll keep his stacks up. Damage going to come through Celeste, going to block out of that Death Buff, and that is going to be a nice from Helltart coming through. Gauntlet wasted. Lyra used the portal as well. Lovely Sewage Strike, but it is stopped by the Bulwark. That's going to be Mr. Jim going to the portal, building up as many stacks as he can. Zip one, getting damage to the backline. Mr. Jasmine is going to go quite low, but so is Guessing X. Nice Sewage Strike back over the wall from Mr. Jim. Just going everywhere. Nice Raw Barrage actually going to get a lot of damage onto Avenger X, which we don't expect one shot. Going to hit him again. Avenger X now going to go back to half health after that Imperial Sigil. Mr. Jim lost his breaking point stacks. Looks like he's going to build a Bone Saw as his last item. I would not expect that. He's going to go for it. Celeste not going to build any defense, going 4 damage items. Pretty glass cannon at the moment, but he's still got a Bone Saw on this crawl, I guess. Nice Death Buff. Going to zone out Avenger X. He's stuck. Can he get the damage? Helo not going to hit. That is going to be Celeste going to go down. Solo Storm's going to be enough, and now that's going to be a heal. Mr. Jim is going to survive. How? How is he alive? Not anymore. Cool's going to block a bit too early, and Kestrel is waiting. Is Kestrel going to go for it? Not quite. Guessing X did die with the Crucible available, so a little bit of a misplay from him. But a nice fight for 5-0 first. They killed the Sky. I really don't think Bone Saw is the right item against this comp, because they know Cool's going to get Atlas, so not Metal Jacket. Celeste isn't going to get Metal Jacket, and Lyra has already got Atlas, so it's not really doing that much for the Sky. I'd rather see more, 2 crit items or 1 crit item.
Yep, maybe the Tyrant's Monaco would have worked a little better. I mean, don't even have to go for the shift. I mean, the Mortal Wound definitely will come in handy going up against a Lyra, but I don't think a shift it's the good item to pick up right now. If had Mr. Jim just went for, you know, Sorrow Blade into breaking double Tyrant's Monaco, increase the crit chance, increasing the crit damage, he will be putting out so much more without building all the way down up to 20 steps.
Gauntlet comes through, Avenger X stuck inside, he doesn't block out, but he does get out of the Gauntlet. IC is going to go solo, but he's going to jump onto Kestrel. Kestrel gets the damage though down, and Cool is going to go to the Sky. Sky, 4 breaking point stacks, he's losing down to 0 again, but Avenger X is he's not doesn't want to do anything. Hasn't got the Aegis, so that's going to be a nice emote from Avenger X. And he's standing in there inside the trap, but doesn't know. Mr. Jim, very aggressive. That's going to be a no block onto the core collapse. He'll be able to do it. Mr. Jim is so low. He's Atlas. He's got Atlas coming through so big from Avenger X, and that will be a kill, a double, a triple for Avenger X on this Celeste. He's going to go get an Aegis, and this will be a Kraken. Nice plays from 5-0 first. Didn't expect it to work, but maybe Mr. Jim was too low.
Well, maybe that, or we saw the slows coming through from the Celeste as well. It was so difficult for Mr. Jim to just, you know, dance around the fight and Sync 1 as well when they were retreating, and then Revenger X is setting those Helios down, slowing them when they were retreating. That is definitely the thing that won them the fight, and thus I guess Frostburn coming in handy. The Evil of Harvest helping the sustain coming in handy. The Clockwork, the Broken Myth as well, Shield Pairs, and all the pairs, all the sustain, all the cooldowns. 2.8 coming in handy. I mean, that is all I can say for Revenger X. There is really nothing much for her build. Of course, it is a subpar build as compared to, say, the Jetson Glass.
Oh, that could be a bad position for X3 Jasmine. Avenger X, and I see her nowhere near. He forced the portal all back. This could be a free Kraken. Car's going to go down. Meanwhile, the fight is breaking out. Block on the Atlas. This is really good for Miss Jim, but 6 one's no Supernova. So Solar Storm comes through. Avenger X is going to get healed up. Cool is the focus for Sky. 17 stacks already. 20 stacks. Here we go. This is going to be a Sky melting if she's able to sustain. But she's forward barging. That's going to do nothing onto ICJL. He's going to try and run. Sky Sewer Strike up in a second. Can she get away? Fountain comes through. Ice is going to go low. And now Sync 1 is trying to do damage to Avenger X going onto the turret. He just doesn't care. Meanwhile, LCGL is going low. That will be an easy kill for Mr. Jim. Atlas comes through. Celeste going to get the turret. Avenger is going to stand inside that active camo trap. And Kraken is pushing down the base. Solar Storm comes through. He's going to get hit by all of it, but it's not going to be enough. Gauntlet not available for another 30 seconds. And Sky going to leave Celeste alone. Kraken, 2 turrets. Pretty happy. Half damage on the third one.
Yep. Base cracked wide open for the side of 500 First, or rather for the side of Bren Esports. 500 First, they are definitely finding a momentum right now. You just really need IC. IC now do not quite have the damage, but as long as you can stick onto the Sky and try to be a nuisance and allow Revenger X to poke from the back, that is quite the winning solution, winning strategy coming into this game. You have Sky that's very mobile, but if you seclude her, isolate her from Revenger X, there is nothing, there is no way he can just got back into Revenger X, and he has to deal with the Cruel first, because if the Cruel just stacks up on that of Mr. Jim will not be putting out much damage at all.
Yeah, I don't mind the Poison Shiv on Mr. Jim. I think that's a fine purchase against a Lyra with a heal, a Cruel with a Spectral Smite, and a Celeste with Neve of Harvest. It makes sense, but I don't like the Poison Shiv and the Bone Saw, because he's getting 20 breaking point stats. If he had Soul Blade breaking point double tyrants, he would be shredding through the Celeste as soon as he hits max stacks. So as soon as he gets about 12 stacks, Celeste is going to get melted. Doesn't matter if she's got a heal, she's just going to die to this Sky. So I think Mr. Jim really needs to get crit. I wouldn't mind him selling his build, not selling his entire build, of course, selling that Bone Saw for a crit item, maybe even selling the Shiv for another crit item if we get that late into the game, because he's not doing the work he needs to. Cruel's got an Atlas, Lara's got an Atlas. There is no need for that Bone Saw. He's got the gold to sell it and buy a Tyrants, but he's not going to. He's going to get an Infusion. So I really think Mr. Jim's just if he changes that build up, gets a little bit of crit, then Celeste is going to go down so much quicker. She's only got defense on Kestrel, and this will be a much easier game and fight for Bren Esports.
Yep, it is very, very difficult now. I mean, we even saw it.
Gauntlet's coming through. Bulwark's not enough, and that is going to be pull the focus. But Lyra stuck inside the Gauntlet, and Mr. Jim, 2 Gauntlet. That Venn diagram coming in big. Celeste is the next focus. Mr. Jim waits for that Sui Strike up in a couple of seconds. He's still got target lock. He Sui Strikes for across the map. Revenger is going to be the focus. Sinquan's going to go quite low. He's going to go down to Supernova, but Mr. Jim gets the kill. Fountain used. Bit late to save Sinquan, but it will keep Mr. Jim alive. Lyra's most likely going to survive, but Kraken is on the fold. She's angry. She's going to be taken by Bren Esports. I don't think Lyra's going to steal it, but to be fair, she can get away. If she just tries for it for the Imperial Sigil. And if they do steal it, this will be really good for 5-0 first. Is it going to happen?
Yep, let's just wait and see if X3 Jasmine have got what it takes to actually go in. But the Atlas Powder will land on the Sky, and Sky will not be able to put in as much damage as Mr. Jim hoped. But leaving Gassing X to take Kraken alone,
he can do it. Give him about five minutes, and Arden will come back to you with a Kraken that has been taken. Sigil up in 3 seconds. What Mr. Jim was doing there was he was trying to bait Lyra into using Sigil a bit early, but she nearly steals it. Gauntlet comes through, gets the stun. Echo not available until now, and he uses it, but he doesn't use it quite easily on the Gauntlet, actually. Arden can use Echo, and he does. Smart plays from Guessing X. I was actually looking at his boots cooldown. He waited until Echo was available, didn't use the Vanguard to keep Mr. Jim alive. He saved it, and now has got another Gauntlet ready for this Kraken push. I really like to see that, but that is, yes, she sold a Bone Saw. Mr. Jim sold the Bone Saw for a Tornado Trigger. I'm so happy.
Yep, probably heard us, and now the next thing will be selling a Shiv and then buying a Tyrant's Monaco. Let's go, Mr. Jim, you can do this.
We can agree to disagree on the Shiv. I think it's find out how this build is going to work on Sky. Corner over the wall, trap up all 3 members. Wall and on the Celeste, and that is going to be a turret going down to the Kestrel. What's going to be the call? Are they going to go in? Sinquan is trying to do damage on the backside. He's going to go to low, 700 from that Supernova. He's got a block, but hasn't got an edge. One shot going to hit onto the Cruel, and that is going to be getting it. It's going very low. He uses the Vanguard on himself. This is very, very passive from Bren Esports. Are they going to go in? Is that the call? From Hellstar comes out. It hits on the Guessing X, and there's going to be a bulwark to stop any Sui Strikes from Mr. Jim. He's going to get the Vanguard, use the block. He dodges out the call cut. He's now onto the Celeste. Look at that Celeste getting bursted down, but an Atlas comes through, so Mr. Jim is going to go very low. The turret will go down, but he's going to try and chain onto Avenger X, and Guessing X wants to do it. He's not going to be able to do anything. Kestrel will back away, and backdoor question mark. I don't think it's going to happen. X3 Jasmine got that bounce, got that contraption to try and defend from Sinquan's backdoor, and there was a decent amount of vision. Sinquan is going very far away. He's not giving up the ace, because they might even push to win. There were 40-second death timers on the Arden. One shot. Gonna hit Avenger X. He's so low. Trap does get the damage, but the heal comes.
Once again, another Scout Trap.
He's got the heal from Lyra. He will be fine now. Another 725 healing, but that one shot into Scout Trap combo nearly got him. But X2 Jasmine comes through with the plays, and the portal is available over the wall for the win. I think 5-0 first could have done it, but Kestrel knows exactly what is up. two traps are placed where that portal would go. And Fires first, they're a bit delayed, but they're going for it. That is a trap. Gonna hit up from Hellsort, comes through. Will he get the damage onto Kestrel? Not quite. And Fires first only get one turret, so this game's gonna keep going on. Arden going to go out. He uses the boot. He's got this bulwarks by the blight bulwark from Lyra, so that's going to be cancelled. And now they've got to keep chasing. No more boots for the Arden. Kestrel got out by the Heliogenesis. Venturex trying to kite back. Hasn't got Dragon's Eye, so not stacking, but is doing a bit of poke. Mr. Jim. Next person he's going to boost in. Gauntlet comes through, and that is going to be Venturex stunned. Again, getting bursted down, but Atlas stands with the Mr. Jim, so that is going to be a bit of damage, not for him. Stun does come out to Mr. Jim. He's getting locked up, and he's going to go down. Now Sync 1 is the only man left standing, but he's got no energy. Sync 1's going to fall to the core. Double for him, and Arden now has to defend by himself. Sell your build, go Crystal. I think this game is going to be 5-0 first.
Yep, there is no reason 5-0 first to not push in at this point. I mean, guessing X, try as you may, but
Guessing X goes for the 1v3 as an Arden. Can he do it? 34 seconds he has to just go, why not? Go for the last man hero.
Oh!
But he gets into base, the baits. And it's 5-0 first, like, yeah, we should probably stop trying to kill Arden. Let's just take the turret. Let's just win the game. And in the end, the weapon sky, not quite big enough. He did sell his poison shiv in the end for a Tyrant's Monocle. Not sure if he had that for the last team fight, but it wasn't enough. 5-0 first, take game 2.
Yep, and Sky, I want to say, and I said it earlier on as well, Sky, why is Bren Esports making things so difficult for them? They could have just swapped their roles around and it would have been a much easier game coming into the second game, but to start a 500 Fuzz, I don't want to say that Bren Esports played bad, but it was because 500 Fuzz just played phenomenally in that late game, just able to just zone the entire team of Bren Esports out. And I must say, the Frostman coming in very, very clutch half the time,